What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. This is Living to Learn. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day, out of your busy life to watch my video, to listen to what I have to share with you today. And I hope that it's helpful. I hope that you'll share it with someone if you think that it would help them as well. Feel free to do so. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I want to hear from you. I want to know your take on what I share. So please, whenever you feel like it, leave a comment. But before I get started, I do want to mention, as always, in the description of this video, you're going to find my TikTok and Instagram handle at Live to Learn Coaching. Those are the quickest way to reach me if you need to reach out to me for any reason. You want to say hi, you want to ask a question, you want me to cover a specific topic. I'd love to hear from you at Live to Learn Coaching. Follow me there for more content as well. And of course, there's 3 opportunities in the description of this video to financially support this channel. And I want to thank you, those of you who have taken your support to that level. It really means a lot. It really shows that you think that what I'm doing here is a worthwhile investment. And that means a lot to me. Now, I've made a couple of different videos over the last couple of weeks. Somewhat of a series. Actually, definitely a series. Even though I haven't called it outright, and dealing with things that men deal with, specifically geared toward men, specifically geared toward any men who might find themselves able to relate to some of the topics that we've been discussing. Talking about feeling trapped, talking about feeling, overwhelmed, and things that as men we deal with on a daily basis. And before I get started in today's topic, I do want to mention something. So one of the reasons I actually got asked this week, what's behind the whole life coaching idea? Like what got me into this? And those of you that, again, and this is for anybody who may be new to my channel, maybe this is your first video you're watching, but maybe you're not familiar with my background. Those of you who know, I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up in the church. I grew up surrounded by, people of faith. And I've got many ministers and people who have served the church in my family. And so that was always modeled to me. And there was a point in time where I knew 100% that was the route that I was going to go. Either in some kind of pulpit ministry, which is like preaching, right? Your traditional preacher behind the pulpit, things like that. Come to find out, that's not at all a good fit for me, for many reasons. And I don't want to get into that too much. One thing I do want to establish is that I have no problem saying that, and I'm very happy with the path that my life has taken. But the other reason, and I've said this before on other videos, the other reason why, right, what my reason for wanting to be a life coach, for wanting to coach other people, for wanting to coach men, is because I've always had counsel, I've always had wisdom, I've always had people in my corner to reach out to lend a helping hand. That's not something everyone can say. Even what I'm going to talk about in today's video, my experience is not what a lot of people can say. So I realize how fortunate I am. I realize how rich I am. And I also take that as my charge to help others. So today's topic, we're talking about what happens when a man feels like he is not needed. What happens when a man feels unneeded? There's no need for him. There's no use for him. Now that can be at work. That could be at home. That could be in multiple, one or more areas of our lives as men. What happens when we feel that we are not needed? Now, I want to preface this by talking about my experience over time, in this lifetime, people that I've come across who have struggled, men that I know, that I grew up with, that I've known for a long time, that struggle with their self-worth. And I've come to think, and I've decided that, based on what I've seen, the majority of the issues that we have as adults stem from when we were younger. Childhood, a moment of time where our mind was just not developed enough to grasp a certain concept. And one of those one of those more important concepts is the idea of self-worth. What am I here for? What am I needed for? And I know many men who, like myself, have found themselves or find themselves in a position where they feel like they are not needed. And it triggers this years long, traumatic experience. And again, for myself, I think I grew up about as best as you could. I think my parents did a great job. I think my family is exceptional. I was never put down directly by people that were supposed to love me, that were supposed to be close to me. Yes, of course, everyone has their days. My parents have definitely said things to me that weren't the nicest. But overall, it was never that way. I never got that from them. From the outside world, that's a whole different story, right? I mean, the world is the world. It's cruel out there. But for the individuals out there, for the people, for the men watching this, for the people watching this, if you had to experience that not only from the outside world, but from within your close circle, where words and things were said to you, things were done to you, were shown to you that caused you to wonder, what is my worth? What am I needed here for? What am I doing here? And so when a man feels like he is not needed, it can trigger some deep, dark feelings, some deep, dark emotions, some skeletons in the closet, as they call it, some things that maybe that man would like to forget. We don't want to remember it. We don't want to think about it. And so perhaps we then begin to occupy ourselves any way that we can, whatever flavor it is that we like, whatever that thing is that we want to do to compensate, to cover that, to do anything but deal with it. But here's my advice today for us, for you men who are feeling like you are not needed. First things first, let me just state the obvious. That's not true. That's not true. Every single one of us has an inherent value. We are needed to show up as ourselves, 100% authentically us, right? Now, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother series, whole nother video. First things first, though, let that be said. Second of all, one of the biggest issues that we have, and the thing that we should put our energy towards the most, is that outside connection to our worth. That if this plus this equals this, that means that I'm doing a good job. That means that I'm needed. What we really need to do is we need to establish value. We need to establish a necessity within ourselves. You have to know that you are needed. You have to know that you are important. I have to decide that. I can't let outside circumstances decide that for me, because if that happens, and it does, because we're human, those things then determine when I am and when I am not needed. And those things are so irregular. Seasons change. I mean, I'm like that. The snap of a finger. They turn on a dime. So what kind of regulation do we have? What kind of control do we have if that's what we're relying on? So men, when a man feels that he is not needed, that man needs to be able to retreat to a source within his mind. He needs to have a place within where he can go and say, no, I'm needed because X, Y, Z. That's evidence we need to be giving ourselves, and we need to do that as often as we can. Journal, write it down, make time with yourself once a week, write down all the things you're grateful for, write down all the things that you see value in yourself about. Get with a coach if you need help getting there, but do not rely on outside circumstances, and do not listen to the lie you may have been told when you were younger or otherwise. When a man feels like he is not needed, he is being lied to. Because, man, we are needed. We are important. I hope that this helped. I hope it's been impactful. And if it has, share it with someone. Have a great day.